There's a difference between being around and being worth something. Too many people confuse presence with power, availability with value. Just because you are always there doesn't mean you are making an impact. Just because you show up doesn't mean you are contributing. The real measure of your life is not in how accessible you are, it's in how valuable you become. Being available is easy. Anybody can show up. Anybody can be in the room, sit in the chair, answer the phone, or take up space. But to be valuable, to truly matter, to be the one people can't afford to ignore, that requires growth, discipline, and sacrifice. People will take advantage of your availability if you don't protect your value. If you don't define what you bring to the table, we'll decide for you, and they will often undervalue what they don't understand. Stop confusing business with effectiveness. Stop mistaking activity for productivity. Being everywhere but contributing nothing is not power, it is weakness disguised as work. To be valuable, you must sharpen your gift. You must develop the wisdom that separates you from the crowd. You must discipline yourself so that when you speak, people listen. When you act, things move. When you show up, solutions arrive. Availability alone will not change your destiny, but value will open doors that access alone never could. Don't just be the one they can reach, be the one they can't replace. Don't just be in the room. Be the reason the room changes. Don't just make time, make impact. Your destiny demands that you rise above average availability and step into undeniable value. Comes a time in life when you must realize that simply being available is not enough. Availability, without the weight of value behind it, sets you up for a cycle of misuse, disappointment, and exploitation. Too often we confuse accessibility with importance. We think that because we are always there, always answering calls, always showing up, always saying yes, that we are securing our place in the hearts and minds of others. But the truth is, people don't respect what is simply available, they respect what is valuable. When you give yourself to everyone all the time, without boundaries, without standards, without discernment, you don't come across as powerful. You come across as desperate. And desperate people get exploited. You can be the hardest worker in the room. If you have not defined your worth, you will always be the one people lean on, but never the one they lift up. They'll call you when they need help, but forget you when opportunity shows up. They'll remember your presence, but overlook your contribution. Why? Because you allowed availability to masquerade as value. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with serving, with being there for people, with extending yourself to those you love. But when your availability is taken for granted, when your presence is expected but your impact is overlooked, you have traded your treasure for a trinket. You've allowed your identity to be reduced to convenience. And convenience is always cheap, always replaceable, always forgettable. The world doesn't reward those who are simply around. It rewards those who bring something rare, something unique, something that cannot easily be duplicated. Diamonds are valuable not because they are everywhere, because they are scarce. Oil is valuable not because it's easy to find, but because it requires drilling, refining, and labor to extract. If you make yourself as common as dust, people will treat you like dust. They will walk over you, sweep you aside, and act as if you were never there. When you elevate yourself to the level of refined value, when you cultivate your gift, when you discipline your character, when you sharpen your mind, you become like treasure, rare, precious, and worth protecting. Availability without value also creates exhaustion. You give and give, you pour and pour, till your cup is empty. And when you are finally drained, the same people you sacrifice for will go searching for the next available person, because they were never invested in your value. They were only invested in your accessibility. You thought you were building loyalty. You were really just building dependency. And dependency without respect is slavery. Some of you have been wondering why you feel unappreciated, why your efforts go unnoticed, why people keep bypassing you when it's time for promotion. It's not because you lack talent. It's because you've trained people to see you as common. You've trained them to expect you to be available at their every beck and call. They don't respect your time because you don't respect your time. They don't honor your worth because you haven't demanded it. You've given so much access that they no longer see your uniqueness. They only see your convenience. Think about it. When was the last time you valued something you could get anytime, anywhere, at no cost? The things we value most are those that are not easily available. If you could walk into the street and pick up gold from the pavement, it would lose its worth. If you could scoop up pearls from every beach, it would no longer be treasured. Scarcity is a part of value. Boundaries create worth. When you refuse to be everywhere for everyone, you elevate your presence. When you set standards for your energy and your time, you communicate to others, you are not cheap, you are not ordinary, you are significant. The problem is too many of us fear that if we are not always available, we will be forgotten. So we say yes when we should say no. We show up when we should be resting. We answer calls when we should be building. We stretch ourselves thin, hoping that our constant availability will make people love us more, respect us more, notice us more. But it does the opposite. Instead of admiration, breeds exploitation. Instead of respect, it produces neglect. Instead of value, it creates invisibility. Understand this. People do not respect what is always easy to get. Respect is born out of rarity, out of quality, out of value. You must learn to guard your energy, to guard your gift, to guard your presence. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to the very things that could build you. Every time you allow people to treat you as common, you diminish the very value that could set you apart. You are not called to be a doormat. You are not called to be an option. You are not called to be endlessly accessible. You are called to be impactful. You are called to bring something to the table that cannot be replaced, cannot be ignored, cannot be dismissed. Requires you to protect your availability and focus on building your value. When you cultivate value, availability becomes strategic. You are no longer just accessible, you are purposeful. You don't just show up anywhere, you show up where your presence produces transformation. You don't just answer every call, you answer the right calls. You don't just give your energy to anyone, you invest it where it multiplies. That is how you stop being exploited. That is how you shift from being common to being significant. Life is too short to be everyone's convenience and no one's priority. Stop allowing people to drain you because you fear rejection. Stop confusing activity with impact. Stop letting your need for approval rob you of your power. Choose instead to be valuable. Choose to cultivate your gift. Choose to sharpen your mind, discipline your habits, and refine your character until your presence cannot be overlooked. And here's the truth. When you build value, you don't have to chase respect. It will find you. When you build value, you don't have to beg for opportunities. They will knock on your door. When you build value, you don't have to fight for recognition. Your excellence will speak louder than any introduction. But when you cling only to availability, you will always be used but never celebrated, always present but never honored, always busy but never fulfilled. So ask yourself today, am I living for access or am I living for value? Am I trying to be everywhere or am I working to become irreplaceable? Am I afraid to say no or am I bold enough to protect my worth? Because the moment you decide that your life is too valuable to be reduced to mere availability is the moment you begin to break free from exploitation. You are not just here to be present, you are here to be powerful. You are here to make impact. You are here to shift atmospheres and change lives. It will not happen until you stop giving yourself away cheaply and start cultivating the treasure that is within you. Value doesn't happen by accident. It is not a gift that drops from the sky, nor is it the automatic reward of simply being alive. Value is built, shaped, cultivated, and refined. It is the result of intentional growth, of daily decisions that push you beyond comfort and into transformation. Too many people want to be valued but refuse to grow. They want respect without responsibility, recognition without refinement, influence without investment. But life does not work that way. To become valuable, you must commit to intentional growth. Growth never happens passively. You cannot drift into excellence. You cannot stumble into significance. If you want to be valuable, you must make the choice to grow every single day. Growth means stretching yourself in ways that are uncomfortable. It means reading when you'd rather scroll, practicing when you'd rather relax, preparing when others are sleeping. Growth means saying no to what feels easy so you can say yes to what builds you. Think about a seed. A seed has potential locked inside of it. But potential without cultivation remains hidden, buried beneath the soil. It is only through pressure, through nurturing, through time and intentional care that the seed breaks open and produces fruit. Many people live their lives as seeds, full of potential, never growing. They remain buried under excuses, under fear, under procrastination. They never water their gifts, never nourish their minds, never expose themselves to environments that demand more from them. And as a result, they never rise to the value they were created to carry. Value requires you to invest in yourself. You cannot demand from life what you have not deposited into yourself. You cannot expect people to recognize what you have not developed. You want to be valuable at your job, then you must grow in skill, in knowledge, in discipline. You want to be valuable in your relationships, then you must grow in empathy, in patience, in communication. You want to be valuable in your community. You must grow in leadership, in wisdom, in service. Without growth, you will always remain at the level of convenience, not significance. Growth is intentional because it does not come naturally. What comes naturally is decay. If you leave a house unattended, it falls apart. If you leave a garden unkept, weeds will overtake it. If you leave your mind unchallenged, it becomes dull. Growth requires decision, discipline, and direction. You have to decide to improve. You have to discipline yourself to keep going even when it's hard. You have to direct your efforts toward meaningful goals instead of scattering your energy everywhere. There are people who confuse time with growth. They believe that because they have been around longer, they are automatically more valuable. But time alone does not increase value. Intentional growth does. A person can live 10 years and grow more than someone who has lived 50. Because value isn't measured by how long you've existed. It is measured by how much you've invested. Don't let time trick you into thinking you've grown. Ask yourself, have I sharpened my skills? Have I expanded my perspective? Have I disciplined my habits? Have I elevated my thinking? If the answer is no, then time has passed, but growth has not occurred. Growth often requires sacrifice. You cannot hold on to everything and expect to rise higher. To grow, you must release distractions. You must let go of toxic habits. You must distance yourself from environments that feed your weakness instead of your strength. You must surround yourself with people who challenge you, not just those who comfort you. Growth demands that you step into places where you feel uncomfortable, because comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort will keep you average, while challenge will push you into excellence. Intentional growth also means being willing to fail forward. You cannot be valuable if you are too afraid to make mistakes. Failure is not the enemy of growth, stagnation is. Every great invention, every breakthrough, every success story was preceded by seasons of trial and error. Value comes when you are willing to stumble, learn, get back up, and keep pressing forward. Those who are afraid of failure never grow. Those who never grow never become valuable. There is a difference between activity and growth. Many people are busy but not growing. They confuse motion with progress. They fill their calendars with tasks but never take time to develop themselves. Intentional growth is not about doing more. It's about becoming more. It's about sharpening your focus so that every effort pushes you closer to excellence. Value requires vision. If you cannot see beyond where you are, you will never grow into where you could be. Growth demands that you imagine a future version of yourself stronger, wiser, sharper, more disciplined, and then make daily choices that align with that vision. Without vision, you settle for repetition. With vision, you strive for elevation. You must understand that the world does not reward potential, it rewards performance. People will not honor what you could do. They will honor what you have prepared yourself to do. And preparation is the fruit of growth. Opportunity will always bypass those who remain stagnant and land in the lap of those who have been sharpening themselves for the moment. The question is not whether opportunities will come. The question is, will you be valuable enough to seize them when they arrive? Intentional growth transforms you from being optional to being essential. It turns you from someone who can be replaced to someone who cannot be ignored. Growth develops the kind of value that speaks before you open your mouth, the kind of excellence that demands respect without begging for it, the kind of strength that others rely on because they know you've been tested. You were not created to remain the same. Stagnation is death in disguise. Every season of your life should add something new to your value. Every challenge should teach you. Every lesson should refine you. Every mistake should shape you. Growth is not optional. If you want to be valuable, it is mandatory. So I ask you, are you growing intentionally, or are you just drifting? Are you feeding your mind with wisdom, or are you starving it with distractions? Are you surrounding yourself with people who elevate you, or are you staying stuck with those who drain you? Are you investing in your skills? Are you wasting your energy trying to be everywhere without ever becoming excellent at anything? Remember, this value is not inherited. It is built. It is the product of intentional growth. If you want to be sought after, respected, and irreplaceable, you must commit to stretching yourself beyond what is easy. You must commit to evolving, to becoming better, to breaking limits, to embracing discipline, to pursuing wisdom. Because when you grow intentionally, you become a force that cannot be ignored. And here is the truth: intentional growth may be painful, but it always pays. It may cost you time, energy, and comfort, but it will reward you with respect, opportunities, and influence. Growth may feel slow. Every step you take builds value within you. And when your value rises, doors open, voices listen. Lives are changed because you chose not to settle for availability, but to pursue undeniable value. There is a dangerous lie many people live under: the belief that being present is enough, that showing up is the whole battle. That because they are in the room, in the conversation, or in the building, they have fulfilled their purpose. But presence by itself is not power. Presence by itself is not influence. Presence by itself is not impact. You can be present and still irrelevant. You can be in the room but make no difference to what happens in it. You can show up but never shift the atmosphere. Impact is what separates those who are remembered from those who are forgotten. It is what transforms attendance into significance. It is the reason one person can walk into a room and everything changes. Another person walks into the same room and no one even notices. Presence about location. Impact is about transformation. Presence says, I am here. Impact says, you will never be the same because I was here. There are far too many people confusing visibility with value. Just because you are seen does not mean you are respected. Just because your body occupies a space does not mean your presence transforms it. A shadow is present. It has no substance. An echo is present, but it carries no power. Don't settle for being a shadow of who you could be. Don't be content with being an echo of other people's voices. You were created to leave impact, not just footprints. Think about history. The names we remember are not those who merely existed, but those who made an impact. Billions of people have lived and died. Only a fraction of names echo across centuries. Why? Because presence disappears when time moves on, but impact outlives the grave. You can be forgotten in a week if all you do is show up. But when you create impact, your legacy speaks long after your voice grows silent. It requires intention. It requires substance. It requires you to bring something with you into every environment, whether it be wisdom, excellence, courage, or solutions. Presence is passive. Impact is active. Presence asks for acceptance. Impact demands attention. Presence says, notice me. Impact says, I cannot be ignored. You see, you can sit in the classroom every day and still not learn. You can clock in at work every day and still not contribute. You can sit at the table of opportunity and still bring nothing of value. Presence without impact is wasted potential. It's a shell without life, a voice without conviction, a figure without force. If you want to matter, if you want to stand out, if you want to be remembered, you must aim higher than presence. You must aim for impact. And impact doesn't just happen. Impact is built through preparation. You don't walk into a room and suddenly change it if you haven't been changing yourself behind the scenes. You don't shift environments if you haven't disciplined your mind, sharpened your skills, and refined your character. The reason some people carry weight when they speak is because they have invested years in growth. The reason some people command attention when they act is because they have cultivated excellence in private long before anyone was watching. Presence may get you in the door, but impact will keep you in the room. Presence may allow you to sit at the table. Impact will give you a voice that shapes decisions. Presence may let you be seen, but impact will cause people to seek you out. Presence is temporary. Impact is eternal. You have to ask yourself, when I show up, do I shift the atmosphere or am I just another body in the crowd? When I speak, do my words bring clarity, healing, or direction, or do they vanish the moment they leave my lips? When I work, do I leave a trail of excellence behind me? Or do I leave things the same as I found them? Am I living for presence or am I living for impact? Danger of living only for presence is that it produces pride without power. People become obsessed with being seen, with being noticed, being photographed, with being tagged. They crave visibility but lack substance. They are known but not respected. They are visible but not valuable. Presence without impact is vanity, but impact without presence is influence. You don't even have to be in the room, and yet your name still carries weight. Your work still speaks. Your legacy still moves people. That's the power of impact. Consider this: a light bulb in a dark room doesn't announce itself. Doesn't need to. It simply shines, and everything in the room is transformed by its presence. That is impact. It is silent but undeniable. It is unspoken but unforgettable. Stop trying to prove that you are present. Start focusing on becoming impactful, because when you carry impact, you don't need to demand attention. Your presence commands it naturally. Presence allows you to hide in the crowd, but impact forces you to stand out. Presence lets you blend in, but impact calls you to break norms, to challenge mediocrity, to disrupt the ordinary. Impact requires you to take risks, to speak truth when silence is easier, to pursue excellence when average is accepted. You cannot make a lasting difference if you are inconsistent. Presence shows up once in a while. Impact is built day by day, choice by choice, habit by habit. Impact is the accumulation of small disciplines, silent sacrifices, and private victories that create a public weight. People may not see what you're doing behind the scenes. They will feel the results when you show up. And here's the sobering truth: presence fades, but impact multiplies. When you live only for presence, the moment you leave, people forget you. But when you live for impact, even your absence speaks, even your silence echoes, even your memory carries weight. That's why you must live in such a way that people cannot forget you, not because you demanded attention, but because you created change. So stop settling for just being around. Stop confusing attendance with significance. Stop measuring your worth by how many places you've been or how many people you've been seen with. Start asking yourself, what impact did I leave? What difference did I make? Whose life shifted because I showed up? What atmosphere was transformed because I walked in? Because at the end of your life, no one will celebrate the places you stood. They will celebrate the impact you left. Choose impact. Build yourself until your presence carries weight. Discipline yourself until your words carry authority. Refine yourself until your work speaks for you. Develop yourself until your life becomes a force that cannot be dismissed. Presence may put your body in the room. Impact ensures your name is never forgotten. There is something inside of you that is priceless. Something that no one can buy, no one can duplicate, no one can truly replace. It is your worth, your value, your uniqueness, your essence. But here is the truth: if you do not protect it, people will misuse it. If you do not guard it, the world will exploit it. If you do not respect it, others will ignore it. Protecting your worth is not selfish, it is survival. It is the recognition that what you carry is too precious to be thrown to those who cannot appreciate it. Worth is not determined by applause. It is not dictated by titles, by likes, or by followers. Worth is intrinsic. It is within you. But even though worth is built into your design, it can be diminished in your eyes if you allow the wrong people, the wrong environments, and the wrong voices to shape how you see yourself. That is why protecting your worth is so critical. Because if you don't protect it, the world will try to cheapen it. Life is full of people who will attempt to define you on their terms. They will label you according to their needs, their convenience, or their insecurity. They will call you useful when you serve them, invisible when you don't, replaceable when you resist. If you do not know your worth, you will let their words shape your identity. You will start living beneath your potential, settling for less than you deserve, all because you failed to guard the treasure within you. Protecting your worth means refusing to be reduced to someone else's opinion. Just because someone doesn't see your value doesn't mean it isn't there. Gold is still gold, even when covered in dirt. Diamonds are still diamonds, even when hidden underground. Their worth doesn't disappear because someone fails to recognize it, and neither does yours. Stop waiting for validation to prove what was already true. Stop giving people the power to decide how much you are worth. Protect it, guard it, stand on it. One of the greatest threats to your worth is overexposure. When you give too much of yourself to the wrong people, when you share your vision with those who lack understanding, when you pour your energy into those who only take and never give back, you cheapen your own treasure. Protecting your worth means learning boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to you. Everyone has earned the right to sit at your table. Not everyone can be trusted with the gift you carry. You must learn to guard your space, guard your energy, and guard your heart. There's a reason priceless art is protected behind glass. There's a reason rare jewels are locked in safes. There's a reason treasures are guarded. Because their value demands protection. If the world protects its treasures, why shouldn't you protect yours? You are more valuable than gold. You are more precious than jewels. And yet too many people live as though they are common, letting anyone touch, handle, take from them without discernment. That is why so many end up feeling used, drained, and unappreciated. Not because they had no worth, because they failed to protect it. When you settle for less than what you deserve, you send a message that your worth is negotiable. You accept treatment beneath your value because you are afraid to demand better. But hear this, what you tolerate will continue. If you tolerate disrespect, it will continue. If you tolerate mediocrity, it will continue. If you tolerate neglect, it will continue. Protecting your worth means refusing to lower your standards just to keep company. It means choosing loneliness over compromise, discipline over comfort, growth over stagnation. Sometimes protecting your worth will make people uncomfortable. When you stop giving unlimited access, they will call you selfish. When you stop settling for scraps, they will call you arrogant. When you stop letting them exploit you, they will call you difficult. But understand, people who are used to benefiting from your lack of boundaries will always resist when you set them. Don't let their resistance make you question your value. Protect it anyway. Protecting your worth means investing in yourself. You cannot claim to value yourself if you neglect yourself. Feed your mind with wisdom. Feed your body with strength. Feed your spirit with truth. Educate yourself. Train yourself. Elevate yourself. Because when you invest in yourself, you increase your value. And when your value increases, your demand increases. Protect your worth by refusing to remain stagnant, by choosing to grow, committing to excellence. Protecting your worth also means protecting your time. Time is life. Time is irreplaceable. Every moment you give away cheaply is a piece of your life you can never get back. Stop giving your time to people who waste it. Stop giving your time to distractions that drain you. Stop spending your hours trying to prove your worth to people who will never appreciate it. Protect your time as the sacred treasure it is, because wasted time is wasted worth. Do not confuse humility with devaluation. Being humble does not mean you allow yourself to be walked on. Being kind does not mean you allow yourself to be exploited. Protecting your worth means you know when to serve and when to step back, when to give and when to guard, when to speak and when to remain silent. True humility is not weakness, it is strength under control, and strength under control knows its own value. Understand this, no one will protect your worth for you. People will only treat you according to the standards you set. If you make yourself too cheap, they will treat you as cheap. If you present yourself as common, they will treat you as common. But when you carry yourself as valuable, when you protect your worth with boundaries, discipline, and confidence, the world has no choice but to respect it. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It is not up for debate. It is not up for discount. You are not a clearance item. You are not a knockoff version of greatness. You are original. You are rare. You are irreplaceable. And you must live like it. Protect your worth by refusing to compromise your standards. Protect your worth by guarding your heart. Protect your worth by walking in discipline and confidence. At the end of the day, life will not reward you for being available. It will reward you for being valuable. And value is sustained only when it is protected. Don't give yourself away to people who do not see you. Don't waste your energy on places that do not honor you. Don't allow the world to diminish what God placed inside of you. Guard it, treasure it, protect it. There is a difference between being reachable and being irreplaceable. Too many people confuse the two. They believe that because people can reach them at any moment, because they are always available, always answering calls, always showing up, they are valuable. But reachability is not the same as significance. Reachability makes you accessible. Irreplaceability makes you essential. If you want to live a life of true impact, you cannot be content with being reachable. You must become irreplaceable. Reachability is about convenience. Irreplaceability is about necessity. People reach for things that are common, but they cling to things they cannot live without. If you are only reachable, people will use you when it's easy. But if you are irreplaceable, people will honor you because they know there is no substitute for what you bring. Think about it, water is irreplaceable. You can drink soda, tea, or juice, but eventually your body will crave water because nothing can substitute for it. Electricity is irreplaceable. You can light a candle or strike a match, but the power grid sustains cities, industries, and lives. If water stopped flowing, electricity stopped running, the world would shake. Why? Because they are not just reachable, they're irreplaceable. And you must become the same. Being reachable is easy. It takes no discipline, no growth, no preparation. Anybody can be reachable. But to be irreplaceable, you must build yourself into someone who cannot easily be substituted. That requires intentional growth, sharpening your gift, and cultivating a level of excellence that makes people say, I can't imagine doing this without them. Irreplaceability doesn't come from being everywhere, it comes from being effective. You can answer every phone call and still be forgotten. You can show up to every meeting and still leave no impact. You can be at every event and still not matter when decisions are made. Reachability gets you noticed. Irreplaceability gets you needed. Ask yourself, am I just someone people can call, or am I someone they cannot afford to lose? Am I just filling space, or am I bringing something unique, something transformative, something that cannot be duplicated? Because the truth is, the world does not celebrate what is common, it celebrates what is exceptional. Becoming irreplaceable means you bring more than effort. You bring excellence. Effort says, I tried. Excellence says, I delivered. Effort says, I showed up. Excellence says, I transformed. Irreplaceability is born from consistency, from showing up prepared, exceeding expectations until your work speaks so loudly that your presence cannot be ignored. And here's the hard truth. If you don't make yourself irreplaceable, someone else will replace you. Reachability without value leads to exploitation. But when you become irreplaceable, people fight to keep you. They invest in you. They honor you. Because they know that losing you would cost them more than keeping you. Irreplaceability also requires courage. To be irreplaceable, you cannot blend in. You cannot simply echo the voices around you. You cannot settle for mediocrity. You must stand out. You must own your gift, refine it, and deliver it with boldness. You must be willing to challenge the status quo, to rise above the average, to refuse to settle for being one of many. Irreplaceability demands boundaries. If you are always reachable, people may begin to take you for granted. When you protect your time and energy, when you prioritize growth and purpose, you elevate your value. People may not always like it, they will respect it, because true worth is never found in endless accessibility. It is found in rare excellence. Consider the difference between fast food and fine dining. Fast food is reachable. It's everywhere. Fine dining is irreplaceable because it offers an experience, quality, and uniqueness you cannot find on every corner. One is consumed quickly and forgotten. The other is savored, remembered, and celebrated. Which one describes your life? Are you living like fast food, always available, always consumed? easily replaced? Or are you living like fine dining, unique, refined, and unforgettable? Being irreplaceable doesn't mean you are perfect. It means you are authentic, consistent, and valuable in ways others cannot replicate. It means you carry a perspective, a gift, a voice, or a skill that is yours alone. When you walk into a room, you bring solutions others cannot. When you speak, you bring wisdom others lack. When you act, you bring excellence that raises the standard. That is what it means to be irreplaceable. Irreplaceability also means building legacy. Presence may win moments, but irreplaceability wins generations. Your goal is not to just be reachable in the present, but to leave a mark that lasts when you are gone. Think of inventors, leaders, creators. Their absence is felt because their contributions shaped history. They were not just reachable in their time, they were irreplaceable across time. But hear me, irreplaceability does not come by chance, comes by intentional choice. You must decide that you will not live as common. You must decide that you will not blend into the crowd. You must decide that your life will mean more than just showing up. Being reachable is easy, but being irreplaceable requires effort, sacrifice, and vision. If you want to be irreplaceable, refine your craft until excellence is your signature. Invest in yourself until wisdom flows naturally. Protect your worth until people understand your value. Show up with solutions, not just presence. Elevate every room you enter. Leave a mark that speaks when you are absent. Because when you are irreplaceable, people don't just notice that you came. They feel it when you are gone. Reachability may get you used, but irreplaceability ensures you are honored. Reachability may make you convenient, but irreplaceability makes you essential. Reachability may win attention, but irreplaceability wins legacy. So I challenge you today, stop striving to be reachable. Stop stretching yourself thin trying to be everywhere for everyone. Start building yourself into someone who cannot be ignored, cannot be substituted, cannot be replaced. Cultivate the kind of excellence, wisdom, and strength that makes your absence costly. Because when you become irreplaceable, doors open, voices listen, and your name carries weight.